Good evening and welcome to my phone that needs to have the volume turned off. And welcome again to Anatomy of an Unpopular Song. This has been an idea sitting, if you would, in the oven baking during the coronavirus. At this time last year, we were making plans to reopen the Bowdoin Center Performing Arts and to do some other exciting things as well. But like so many plans, they were halted due to a pandemic that was already on its way from the other side of both ponds. And but it's been 8 months now, and science is telling us that this does not look like it's going to change until 2022. When I heard that, I was like, wait a minute. And at that point, I began thinking about how I could bring at least some aspect of the Bowdoin experience to the digital domain. But you just can't copy or cut and paste, if you would, an experience that happens in community and think that it will just translate into any other, medium. So I had to wait until the ideas for tonight distilled into something unique. We all know what unique means. But that includes looking around to see if it's already being done. And if it is, then let's send all the traffic that way. No need to do what somebody else is doing. But I've been looking around and searching high and low, and I have not found anything yet. So let's give this a try tonight. Some of you may be wondering, why am I using the word unpopular in the title of tonight's stream? It sounds like a touch of false humility. It might be. I don't know. But I do want to say that I know that the song that we're going to look at tonight is a great piece of music, and not so much because its origin is in me. We know that that's not the case for anybody, but it's not popular because in this day and age, if you're not out playing, shopping, promoting, and performing your music, it will never be heard. I'm totally cognizant that unless I am out there hustling, driving around in a van, playing every dive that will open up its doors to me, the masses will not know my music, and hence it will be unpopular. But the days of recording records and not needing to perform them live, like Steely Dan back in the 70s, those days are over. Even Donald Fagen of Steely Dan, now I believe he's in his 70s, he still has to hustle around the country in a bus to try to not only make a living, but to make the money that's needed to make the kind of records that he wants to make. And those of you that are familiar with the Steely Dan catalog, his recordings, their recordings are no joke. And it includes an immense budget just because they're so meticulous. But unfortunately, at this time in my life, I'm unable to do those things that it takes, for music to circulate. And so I am what you call bi and tri-vocational. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a pastor, I'm a caregiver. And that means that I need to stay home. But that won't stop me from writing and recording music. Thank God my overhead is almost nothing, and I don't have to recover any money from sales. I don't do music to earn a living. I earn a living so I can do music. But tonight's going to be lots of fun. And it will not be loose. Some of you know what that means, but it will be more than just fun, I promise. I think tonight's going to be somewhat redemptive of the times that we're living in. I think it's going to be even to the point potentially of healing, really? Anatomy of an unpopular song, healing. Healing of some of the trauma that we have suffered as well. Because that's what any kind of artistic reflection does. Whether you are watching the performing arts or whether you're staring at a beautiful piece of fine art, either experience can be like a balm in Gilead, as the Bible says. I mean, when I think about my Instagram feed these days, when I first started, it used to be filled with a lot of pictures of people, and that became a little crazy and sometimes a little traumatic. Then it became filled with retail, and then that became too expensive. And so now I see that my Instagram feed is filled almost completely with art. And I love that because of what art does. So tonight's agenda is exactly as the flyer reads. It's a live deconstruction of the lyrical, melodic, harmonic, and rhythmic parts of a song. And what I wanted to do tonight is bring in as many resources as I can that I think we would all benefit from, whether we are a musician, a songwriter, whether we are someone who is just a fancier of music from afar. You'll still be fascinated by the things that you learn. So one of the things I want to do right now is just, why don't we starting from the start and look at what it is in terms of a definition of music. This comes from a book that I love, and it is called Music Theory by Mike Miller. It's a book that we use faithfully or used faithfully back in the Bowden days. And I think he has probably one of the best definitions of what music is. And I keep coming back to this definition, especially when I find myself potentially going off the rails, musically or in music theory. And he says music is the art, the craft, and the science of organizing sound and silence in the framework of time. I love that. Music is the art, the craft, and the science of organizing sound and silence in the framework of time. And he adds this other little piece to it, and he says it is a succession of tones arranged in a specific rhythm. So that's a definition of what music is. It's not the only definition, but I like that one. And all the songs that we're going to look at tonight, as you could see from the flyer, are all part of the Jordan Miles Music Songbook. And that's just a fancy way for me to say all of my original tunes. By the way, you can stream any of the music, besides the music that we'll hear tonight, you can stream any of the music that I have either written or co-written on your favorite platform, whatever it is. And there's 3 different searches that you can do. The first one you could do, of course, is my full name, Joseph Henry Cortese. And then you could also search the Upper Room Music Company, and you'll see there 3 albums that I produced and also wrote some songs on all those records, along with some other fantastic songwriters like Mark Leontovich and a few others. And then you could also type in The Storytellers. The Storytellers was more of a hip hop, R&B, urban kind of expression that produced 5 albums. And don't be thrown off when I say that it is hip hop, because I'm some of the proudest music. Some of the music that I'm proudest of is the stuff that was written for the Storytellers. In fact, sometimes I want to take that music and take the music tracks or at least the songwriting of it, and start putting like other lyrics to it and make it more of a narrative that's sung. So who knows? I've tried it a few times, and then sometimes I feel the song is just staring at me going, would you just leave me alone and let it rest? So I am. But, and I'm not choosing, I'm choosing my music and not somebody else's music for a specific reason, I think. And that is because I think that I can be more honest and accurate to the inner logic of what's going on in a song. I can't do that kind of analysis at that level for a song that's written by somebody else. I wasn't in their head or in their heart, when they wrote it. Even though, they wore their heart, in the song, but still, I don't know what was going on. I can only speculate. And by the way, I've done plenty of that as well, especially with the music of Burt Bacharach. And I do love doing that kind of work too, but not on this platform. So anyway, with that said, couple rules of the house, if you would, please, if you're home, I'm sure you're not sitting, or you're not, there's 3 people listening, but it's okay, because this is going to, Lord willing, when this is over, it will also be put up on a podcast. And let's see if there's a life to this after tonight. But I'm sure you're not sitting with your family. You're probably watching this alone. Put on headphones. If not, make sure you're listening on a really, really good sound system, because the things we're going to hear and the things that we're going to dissect and tear apart are going to be the kind of things that you want to really hear in the best fidelity possible. So again, this is the order of things tonight. We're going to be looking at the lyrics, the rhythm, the melody, and the harmony of a song. You'll hear some backstories. I'll be gossiping about some people as well. I got my little keyboard here, which was just giving me a buzz a little while ago. I don't know if you folks heard that. Hopefully it's going to go away. It's still there. But at some point, I do want to play this keyboard and show and demonstrate what the approach was to this. But before we go any further, let's just go ahead and hear the song that we want to talk about tonight. And this is called How Deep. So it's just a listening experience. You don't need to, there's not going to be any lyrics or anything like that or words on the screen, but we're going to hear the whole song in its entirety. So listen carefully. And then when we come back and dissect the song, we'll listen to the song in sections. I've queued up. I've made some really cool cues for you of the sections. And don't worry, it fades in and it fades out. So none of the music is going to end abruptly. So anyway, this is How Deep. And it features Alson Farley Jr. and Amanda Negron on lead vocals. But it could also be said that the background vocals of Doom, which I'll talk about later, they're also soloists, because they start, I think the first half of the song is just them. So here it is. Enjoy How Deep.
How great is the sum
Yeah. Wow. My God. I love it. I wouldn't be able to talk about it unless I loved it. Um, and that sounds so self-serving. But I'm going to tell you why I love it. By the way, if you hear banging in the background, I still have radiators in my house. And that's what they do. They bang. Hallelujah. And there's a whole bunch of people that still don't know that the stream is on because they never followed this page or whatever it is. This is not my personal profile page. This is my band musician, whatever page. So just share it. But don't worry, it'll all be online again when this is over. But by all means, share it. Okay. I love this song. Let me tell you why. Let's first start off. We said that we're going to start off by looking at lyrics. Here is the anatomy of a song and its lyrics. Oh boy, folks, this song came as a result of a thing that's been happening in our church. We have been moving, shifting over the past maybe half a dozen years to a much more liturgical, sacramental approach to worship. And it's really been beautiful, almost for everyone. But that means that we follow a rhythm of scripture. And this song is Psalm 130. Some of you may have been able to pick up on that. We needed a song for the liturgy because we really didn't have a song in our portfolio or songs of worship that captured Psalm 130. So you don't have a song. What do? You go write one. And the words of the song, or the words of the psalm say, "How deep I find your thoughts, O God, how great is the sum of them. If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me." So as you can see, what I just read to you right now, I turned into the A section and the B section of the song. Don't worry about the C section just now. I'll talk about that in a second. So again, the chorus is, "How deep I find your thoughts, O God, how great is the sum of them." Folks, you need to remember that when the lyric content of a song is very short, typically for me, that means that the song is going to be somewhat complex. To give you an example of that, I wrote a song on the album called My Strength and My Song, and it's called Everything He Does Is Wonderful. If it's not on that album, it's on the Psalter. But on one of those albums called Everything He Does Is Wonderful. What is that? Everything He does is wonderful. The blind see, the lame are walking, and that's it. That's all the verse says. It was the verse where the people were astonished, at what he does with such authority. That's it. When you hear that song, you start to realize that because the words are short and simple, that always throws me into a writing that gets a little bit more complex. Not to us. A simple little song, not to us, oh Lord, not to us, but to you we give all of the glory because of your loving kindness and blah, blah, blah. And that's it. Well, that song's got some stuff in there too. On the flip side, some of you may know The Same God from the album The Race. Very pithy, very wordy, very narrative, not prose. Very, very narrative, a lot of words. And they kind of almost work like a rap kind of vocal. There's only 2 chords to that song on the verses. Boom, we serve a mighty God. Same. We need more time to win this one. It's only 2 chords. So there's an example of a song that when it's got busy, intense, complex lyrics, then I tend to want to write music that it doesn't get in the way of that busyness of lyric. And so it'll be simple. So getting back to this lyric, and then we're not going to talk about the lyric again. We're gonna move on. But what is the C section? Well, the C section, and by the way, it could be called the bridge, the second bridge, because when you write a song, the typical American song form is verse, chorus, second verse, second chorus, bridge, and then whatever, another chorus or the outro. This song form is really just A, B, A, B. and then it has a bridge. But when you're doing A B A B, a lot of times people will consider the A section the chorus, and then they will consider the second section, the B section, they might call that the bridge. Take it to the bridge. So you always bounce to the bridge. If you're always singing the A section, then you eventually bounce to the bridge. So we do that here as well. Section C is actually another bridge. And look, there's more words in that bridge than even the B section. And that's because in this song, it's really two songs that came together. The C section of this song is a chorus that has always been in my mind and my heart, and there was a demo for it, and it was called "I'm Surprised to Be Loved." And these words have stayed with me. So sometimes they stay with you, but they're incomplete. I have moleskin notebooks that are filled with a bunch of chunks of thoughts, but they have not come together in the form of a song. But you save them and you keep them. The Bible of songwriting right here, Tunesmith by Jimmy Webb. This is the book that teaches you how to collect all of these things all these words and phrases and lines and thoughts that you collect across your whole life. You put them away. By the way, I got these. This is a cool thing about this program is I get to recommend to you all the books that I'm reading and I'm loving and that can be great resources for you. So anyway, that's the lyrical structure of it. Really, really simple. And you'll hear that bridge too. Let's move on to the rhythm of this song. Sorry. Okay. I love dance, but I don't dance. But I know what dancers want because I'm a drummer. And so I know that when the music comes on, dancers for the most part, and when I say dancers, I'm talking about club dancers, I'm talking about house, people that like to dance the house, club, whatever it is, people that like to dance modern dance. When I think about the Alvin Ailey dancers, I know how to get Matthew and Hope going. 4 on the floor. Any music that's got 4 on the floor is the stuff that makes people move. And I love that. So that's why disco is such a huge genre for dance. I love, of all the Latin music or Hispanic music or whatever's the right way to say that, of all those music, my favorite, some of you may be surprised and offended and angry, but mine is merengue. And I love merengue because, again, the same thing. It's got this heavy 4 on the floor. Now, where do I get my merengue songs from? You have to go to a Dominican barbershop. And my barbershop right here on Gramerton Avenue, who I haven't been back since the pandemic, but when I go in there for a haircut, not only do I go in there for a haircut from an amazing barber, but I go in there to put my Shazam on and just capture every song that these guys are playing. And so one of the songs that I love is by this guy. I don't even know who he is. So if you're a big merengue fan and this guy is somebody that I shouldn't be listening to for whatever reason, he's cussing up and I don't know. All I know is that jam right there. And folks, I can't play any of this music on the stream. You know that, for legal reasons. So I'm going to be throwing up pictures of songs that have influenced How Deep, and you've got to take a screenshot or something because that's the only way you'll know. So this song right here, major influence. I try to get Jordan to play merengue like bass on this song. And I sent this song to him. I said, Jordan, listen to this because I'm writing something and it's going to be like a house merengue or whatever. And so learn it, and so let me play the intro. This is the only merengue that Jordan was able to offer. Because, in merengue, the bass player, besides being the foundation of the song, there's a lot of sliding going on. Well, you're not going to hear any sliding in this song except for the intro. So check it out. Hold on. That was it. If you weren't listening, you missed it. One more time. Get ready. That was Jordan's cut. He does one more. This is why you have to have... You heard that? That's why you have to have headphones for this whatever you want to call it. One more time. Here it is. Here's Jordan's big merengue debut. Isn't that cool? I hope you like these little cues I put together. So every cue will swell up into a 1-bar swell up into the section of the song. And then when the section is over, it will fade out gently. Okay, there's also something else. That was the intro. Let me just double check this. Hold on. Yeah, okay. There's something else going on in this song, and it's going to pop in now on the first verse. And I want to show you what the influence is. By the way, Bob Franceschini on all woodwinds. He's a saxophone player, a tenor saxophonist. That's his main instrument. He is playing on this song, my God, all woodwind instruments, no saxophone. So the flutes that you hear are him. The clarinets that you hear, the bass clarinets, the piccolos, the alto clarinets. It's a total woodwind arrangement. It is, if there was a Grammy for horn arrangements, this album should win multiple times over. So anyway, but so I bear with me because again, I'm so excited to be able to talk about this. I am also a huge fan of electronic music, electronica. I love it. One of the things I love about it is that a big part of its music, which by the way is also very, very danceable, but it also has a way of staying out of the way. Let me get out of this image here, and because we've already seen enough of, he's gotten enough promotion for his album. In electronic music, the music is very arpeggiated, very sequenced. You have these, going on, and I love that. I like that a lot. So in this section here, you're going to hear in the verse, you're going to hear a sequence, a arpeggiated sequence that follows the chord structure. And I want to show you another slide. And some of you remember this movie, Midnight Express, a story of a young man who went to Turkey and tried to smuggle either into the country or out of the country drugs. He was arrested, and the movie is the tale of what his incarceration was like in this third world country. But the theme song for that record was called Chase. And if you can go search that, the minute you put it up on iTunes or whatever you listen to, you're going to know exactly what that song was. If, you got to be over a certain age. But Chase, fantastic song. It has not only influenced me, but it caused me to bring in some of those elements. So here's the first verse of How Deep, and you're going to hear some electronica in there. Now, I do want to put up the chart for this, and I'm going to go back to page 1. I'm going to put up the chart so that you can kind of see what's going on musically as we are listening. Right now, we're going to pay attention to this feature of arpeggiated, sequenced stuff. Here's the first verse. Check this out. So I hope you heard the little sequence in the background, and that was generated by Omnisphere, which is a fantastic program, and it has a section there. And basically you just hold down the chord of whatever you're playing, and then it comes out and it breaks it up. So what we're going to do here is I I want to stay here and start to talk a little bit about melody, because there is in Mike Miller's book a section on what one must do to write a melody that's memorable. So I want to go ahead and look at this checklist with you, and then we'll come back to this chart to see what's going on and see, where some of these things are being honored. And by the way, sometimes they're being dishonored, and I'll tell you about that. I have an Achilles heel in my songwriting that I want to be very, very honest about. But what makes a melody memorable? Center on pitch, of course, the melody that's used, all those notes comes from the diatonic scale of the song. This song is in the key of C. How deep? Okay, so center on pitch. We're in the key of C. That's the tonic. Make sure you end up at home when you write a melody. How great is this? We're gonna go back to the chart for a second. And it ends is the sum of them. If you see right there at the bottom line, the word them, that is what we would consider coming home. And so we do come home, and we come home to this note, which is C, which is the key of the song, which is the tonic. Stay within the scale. We do that. All the song, all the melody, all the lines in the song all come from the song. He says use the pentatonic scale, which we know are 5 notes that are really the best ones to start with. Create variations. I think you're going to see variations. Take small steps. That's one of the things I don't know how to do very well, because the song starts with how deep. That's already right there. That's a big jump. Then it comes down. But sometimes I don't take small steps. Avoid unsingable intervals. Yeah, that's hard. Sometimes my intervals are so, it's like jumping through it's a pain. But anyway, I try as hard as I can to stay away from unsingable intervals. Keep this rhythm simple. My God, look at this chart. That's one of the simplest melodies you'll ever see. It's almost childlike, frolicky. That's how simple it is. Set up, resolve, and tension. I'll show you that in a minute. By the way, let me add to that. Don't only set up, resolve, tension and resolving in the melody. I love to do that in the chords as well. Set up a call and response. I think we'll see that there as well. And balance, repetition, and variety. Great quote from Jimmy Webb. He says, the key to writing an interesting melody is to lead the ear on a path which is both pleasant and to some degree unexpected. Great, great quote from Jimmy Webb, who wrote the book that I showed you before. So back to this. Let's go ahead and listen now to the second verse, which is the first verse just repeated, but it's repeated with a whole other rhythmic thing going on. Notice the things that come into this section. Notice the things that stop playing in this section, because you can't keep it all going at the same time, or else it just becomes saturation. Here's the second verse, or what we would call A2. So some of the obvious things that happened there is that the singers went from a unison vocal, which is a pretty big sound, and then on the second repeat they split, and the altos took the melody, and the sopranos took this upper harmony that's really good. I'll just play a few bars of that again so you can hear the vocal split.
How deep I find your thoughts, oh God, how great is the sum of them.
I take that back. What you're hearing is even slicker than that. The first half of this second chorus, the sopranos are singing the melody and the altos are singing a harmony. And halfway through the section, the altos take over the melody and the sopranos begin singing an upper harmony. This is the kind of stuff that you do when the lyrics are real simple, the song is painfully simple, and now you get creative in a different way. See, this is what happens when we listen to music at this level. Kudos to those ladies, and we'll talk about them in a minute, because in a second, everybody shines at different times here. But when we get into this chorus, you're going to hear the altos tell the sopranos, and the sopranos are young ladies, but the altos, which are for the most part older, more mature women, except for Faith Moore. But you've got Tony Rivera in there, and you've got Annette Mata in there. These are veterans. And they carry with them years and years of a sound that's been developing. And in that chorus, you'll see it. But let's just quickly talk here. We're talking melodic stuff here, but let's talk about harmonic. And harmonic has to do more so with the harmonies that you're hearing. And let me just let you into the inner logic of what's happening on this. Most of the songs I write are in C anyway, because I'm not a piano player, even though I studied classical piano for many years, and I can write music because I studied music. But this song starts where I start. Listen, all my songs start either in C or C minor. It just depends on what the mood of the song is. But I want to show you something here that I think is worth noting. Starts with How Deep, which is just a C2, and then climb up to an E minor 7, which is really still keeping the C2 here, but just changing the bass note, right? I find your thoughts, oh God. Just do a little movement in there. I hope you hear that. Your thoughts, oh God. Melody stays, even though there's this movement here. How great, which is an F major 7, how great is the sum. Now, folks, right here, you would normally go to the 5 of the song, and then that takes you back to C. I've never done this before, and I don't know if there's a stream that's doing this, but let's go over this, because here's where your mind's going to be blown, as mine is also. How great is the sum of them. See how that sounds kind of boring, even if you try to give it a gospel touch? I am trying to get back to the top of this line again. I want to sing How Deep again. So, in order for me to go, how great is the sum, I cannot go to that G, because that is kind of feels like a finality, if you would, a final point. So what I need to do is I need to throw a chord in there that will keep us suspended in animation so that we can come back to a second repeat of that. So this is what I did. How great is the sum, and then of them, that's the melody, right? Let's play that bad chord one more time that we don't want. The melody is there, so it fits this G chord, but we're not going to play a G. we're going to make that 5 of G, which is a D, the note D, we're going to turn that into the sharp 9 of a different chord, and it's going to become this chord. I may have lost 99% of the stream or the streamers, but just stick around anyway, and I'll do that again. How great? Let me take it up an octave here. So, how great is the sum of them? And that right there, that chord right there makes me want to go back to the melody. But I'm not going to go back to the melody here, which is how deep. I'm not going to go here. I'm going to go here. How, I'm sorry, let me give me a second. Let me play this. I'm bringing an octave down so it doesn't sound so tinny. So we just left this chord. Of them. The melody is going to do this. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw in this chord. How? I'm sorry, sharp 5. Give me a second here, folks. How deep? As opposed to how deep? I'm doing this. How deep? Now, one of the rules of writing a melody is to try to create tension and then resolve it. Well, I like to create tension and resolve it even in the chords. So I go from this, how deep I find. Still works, F minor 7. How deep I find. Now I play a regular E minor 7. Your thoughts. Folks, and the next chord here is another tension chord, and it is the foundation of gospel music, and popular music doesn't want to use this chord anymore, but I don't care. Oh, God. That's a diminished chord. Oh, boy. My God. Let me go through this again. Instead of playing how deep the second time around, we're going to play this one. How deep Sorry, Don, I know you told me not to sing. Find your thoughts. Oh, God. Diminished. And guess where that tension takes us to? How great. That's the F major. And now we're going to bring it home. Is the sum of them. I could stay on this for 3 hours, but we got to keep it moving. So there I wanted to give you an example of a simple little melody. Let me get rid of this buzz. And by all means, if this is making sense, I'm looking at the comment section right now for the first time. I am not at that level yet where I can have this conversation with you and then engage with you. But just a quick look over, it looks like we're making some sense, or at least we're having the top of our head fall off or blow up, and that's good, because that means that you will start to pay attention to music, and you might even want to start getting sheet music when you find that you fall in love with a song to find out what is going on. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's get to this chorus, and look what we do. We're gonna literally click the slide and listen to these singers.
If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me. If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me.
How deep?
Yeah. So that verse, and by the way, in reference to the whole idea of tension in a melody and then resolving the tension, because you can't stay in that tension too long. One of the things you want to do is you also want to stay away from chords that get you home too soon. So halfway through that chorus where we talked about the chords that helped us to stay in like weirdness until we can wrap around again. Yeah, you want to stay away from chords that bring you home too soon. We're not home yet. So if we're not home yet, don't play, don't play an 11 chord. Don't play, well, my keyboard's not. Yeah. Don't play that, because that means we're home, and you remember what it's like. I don't want to go home yet. Right, we don't want to go home yet. That's why we play chords like this. That's nowhere near home. But then when you get to the chorus here, look what happens. We need to chill now. We had a really aggressive first and second chorus. Now we're at the B section, and then just kind of goes. We get to relax a little bit. I'm sorry. Yeah. C major 7. We just get to relax. It's okay. This is all we need. The melody is going to work a little bit more. So you can see here, even as you look at the chart, you can see it's C major, D minor over C. Sometimes I write chords with the wrong name because I'm going for a specific voicing. So this is the chorus. One more time. Let's hear these girls again.
If I were to count them,
Whoa.
they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me. If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me.
How deep?
Yo. So Tony, Faith, and Amanda, Tony, Faith, and Annette take over the melody. I think the sopranos are singing in there too, but that's not their range. And so when sopranos are singing in the alto range, typically they don't really stand out. They don't really shine there because it's already kind of painful for them. But just for the sake of beef, they stay there. But in that B section, you hear those other ladies, and it's just mind blowing because I've been working with them for over 30 years, maybe longer, maybe 40, I don't know. But that sound is it gives me chills. And did you notice that the sopranos, halfway through that verse, again, when it's a very simple song with simple lyrics, that's where you get you get that calling to address some more complexities. And so the sopranos split with the altos. The altos keep holding down the melody, and the altos hold the melody, and then the sopranos fly above them. And as they're soaring, what are you hearing? You're hearing Bobby F in these flutes, picking these little spots in between
If I were to count them,
on the second
they'd
half.
outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up,
Jerry Kaufman.
still with me. If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me.
How deep?
Jerry Kaufman. Jerry Kaufman he's just playing this bring, 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 just playing this real simple little thing. I remember when he was tracking it, I'm like, come on, man, this song is kicking. Play something more. I was looking at it. I didn't say that to him, but I was like, man, why is he playing this way? Because it was perfect. And then when Bobby F comes in, he's doing two step da da ba 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 da ba. So both of them together. Boom da 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 bang da da boom da ba da bing da 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 boom da ba da bing da ba. All right, let's get to this third chorus. You ready? Here's Alison Farley Jr., who... Look what happens here, folks. Look at the chart. We're supposed to be done at 8. This is crazy. Look what happens on the chart here, folks. The singers take... Let me just tell you now, so that when you listen to it, you could follow the chart and see how brilliant these people are. The singers are going to sing the melody. They're going to change the melody because they're going to just get more on the 4 on the floor. Doom, the I, fine. You're just going to see that they're going to sing it differently. And what does Alison Farley do, the soloist? He's going to sing background vocals solo, which means that he's going to come up with echoes that are around what the ladies are doing. My God, check this out.
How deep
How deep
I find
I find
your thoughts,
your thoughts.
oh God.
Oh God,
How great
how great
is the sum
is the sum
of them. Hey, how deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them.
If I were to count them.
My God. All right. So what do you want to talk about first? Okay. So you hear these, Faith Moore, you hear her when those altos start singing, okay, how deep I find, hope you can see the words, your thoughts. Oh God, that's a C. That's a C above middle C. And that's over on a diminished chord. When you start hearing altos singing those notes, obviously the sopranos, they can soar and give this graceful top voice, which is just amazing. But when you get altos to sing C natural, let me just play that note on this keyboard that's bugging out. Okay. So sopranos are there. I'm sorry, that's the sopranos. And oh God. Those A's, B flats, C's above middle C, when altos sing those notes, oh my God, it's just really incredible because they're belting and that cuts through. The other genius of this section here is that the horn arrangements are paying attention to the bass player. Bobby F's crazy horn parts, which if you ask me, I think that they're heavily influenced. If they're not influenced, they sound like this record. I've been wanting to make sure that anytime we hear parts of this song that hearken to other older music, because it's in our blood. By the way, if you haven't picked up on this already, this whole song feels like a celebration of Sal Soul Orchestra, because Sal Soul always had women singing in unison. So those of you that love 3, 4, 5 part harmony, that's great. But let me tell you, listen to Sal Soul and you hear what it's like when a bunch of women sing in unison. It's insane. So I love that record too. But Bobby F is playing and mimicking the notes that Jordan is playing on the bass. And this is why Jordan gets away with getting a D- on playing merengue, because that's not his thing. And what he is playing is his thing. Because at the core, he is a classic soul and R&B and gospel. That's his forte, those genres. And so he right here in this section is just doing his thing. And it is filled with so much conviction that the horn parts decide to copy what he's hearing. So I want you to listen. We're going to hear it down again. And the chords here are different, right? How deep Na, 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 la, na. Sorry. So what am I doing here? I'm trying to pedal. I don't want to change the bass notes like I did it the first time, going from C to E. Look, folks, even if you don't know music, when you look at the first page, C to E minor 7 to A, Jordan on this time around on the bass, he stays on C. How deep will I find your thoughts? Then there's that diminished chord, and then it kind of, goes back. So the fact that the bass player gets to pedal on those notes for like 3 measures, then cuts into the F sharp, and then resolves to the F, then it gets crazy. But let's listen to that again.
How deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them. Hey, how deep.
Oh my God. There's a lot going on there, folks. First of all, F sharp 9, flat 5. That chord right there causes Jordan to play doo-ba-da-boom-ba-doom-boom. And then Bobby F cops that line, but then
How deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum
here it comes. Watch this.
of them. Hey, how deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them.
How? I can't believe we're still streaming. I feel like I'm wasting everybody's time. This is terrible. Listen to this progression here, okay? Second system, bar 35, for the geeks out there. F major 7, right? D sus over E. Oh, gosh, I'm not even going to play this chord. Oh my God. Anyway, and then it ends on the G11. Then this chord is from hell. If Eli Correa was out there. An A flat over B, because that's what I choose to call it. How deep? Okay, and Alison Farley. Alison Farley is gonna sing that. He ends here. Hey, how deep? Do you see what's going on there, folks? He goes, hey, right? Nice gospel ending. Hey, how? And he has to hit an E flat. Deep, I find your thoughts, oh God. Oh my God. Father in heaven, lift the coronavirus that we might be able to gather and we won't take for granted ever again. But we thank you for this version of community that we have. One more time.
How deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them.
And anytime those melodies need an accent, that's where the glockenspiel. We haven't talked much on this stream about orchestration and stuff like that, but those glockenspiels are the kind of things that we do anytime we want to accent something that the singers are doing or something else that's going on. Now we're going to go ahead and hit this next chorus. This next chorus is going to build, strings are going to come in, and the singers are going to take off again and hold down the melody. The soloist is going to walk off. He's already finished his ad-libs or his background vocals for that section. And now we got to get back to the chorus, which is, excuse me, wrong slide. We go back, it says DS, right? We have to go back here. So this is the chorus. We went through this section already, but listen to it now with some more embellishment.
If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me.
Check out Jerry Kaufman on the acoustic piano.
If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, you're still with me. I'm surprised to be loved.
So, yeah. Oh, sorry about that edit. Well, Jerry at that moment does what he does best, and that is he begins to develop his own motifs on the piano. They just, I know they're inspired by the Holy Spirit, and he just begins to play them. So that whole bang, bong, bang, bong, that's going up against the climbing strings. Then he throws a little bit of bebop in there, considering he's heavily influenced by people like Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea and so many others. Throws a little bebop in there, and then he begins that motif again. And that motif against the climbing strings, against Phil just playing straight up, chicken scratch. So we got the R&B people holding it down there, keeping the legit R&B thing happening on the floor. Remember, the dancers still want to keep dancing. So we got the dance vibe going. We got the strings. We got the orchestration going. We got the clarinets going. And now we get to the bridge. We're almost done, folks. What is the bridge of this song? This is the second bridge, if you want, or this is the C section. This is something that was written a long time ago. When it was done as a demo, Amanda recorded the demo. And there are some times when singers, when singers fall in love with something, you can't take them away from it. They literally marry it. They become one with it. And that's usually because it resonates with their life in a certain way. So they're singing with an enormous amount of conviction. And so I knew that when this song would be recorded, whenever that would be, she would definitely be the one to sing it, because it was already such a deep part of her. But it's been on a shelf for 5-10 years. It's old, 5-6 years. I think 2009 might have been when I first made a demo of this. I'm not too sure. But now I finally found a song where this bridge could find its home, especially when it uses the same lyric that the psalmist uses with regarding the grains of sand, and using that as a measure of God's love for us. So we're going to go to the bridge now. The bridge, it starts on C, but it really is a completely different mode, if you would. And watch Amanda sing this, and then says, "I'm not leaving," and stays for the end of the song. Here we go.
I'm surprised to be loved in light of who I am, in light of what I've done, in light of who you are. How precious are your thoughts about me, too many, too beautiful. They outnumber the
Yeah, so what I did there, I threw up an image of something that influences the bridge. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, get-down, boom, down, get-down, boom, boom, get-down, boom. Or Che Che La Fa, whatever that other song that came out in the 70s that was a French tune. Tony Matola lives on the road. Same kind of vibe. Doom, doom. I know Jose Collazo's going nuts right now. But anyway, that's an influence on the bridge. And man, crazy, right? The modulation. The singers come back halfway through and they take over the melody so that they can free Amanda up to sing some more ballet type lines. Check this out.
I'm surprised to be loved in light of who I am, in light of what I've done, in light of who you are. How precious are your thoughts about me? Too many, too beautiful.
Go, Phil.
They outnumber the grains of sand. In light of who I am, I'm surprised to be loved. How deep?
Yeah. And there you have that diminished chord at the end there, bar 63. That is the setup, if you would, to get us to a key change. Of course, you got to do a key change, especially when you're dealing with a song like this. And I'm surprised to be. Da, 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 da. That's gospel music 101 right there, folks. And those BGVs and Amanda climbing up that scale. And there's the melody there. I'm surprised to be loved. Folks, let me play that again for you. I'm surprised to be loved. That's an E natural above high C. And Amanda could have sang up here on that day if she wanted to. That's incredible. E natural above high C. Let's just hear it one more time before we get to the end.
I'm surprised to be loved in light of who I am, in light of what I've done, in light of who you are. How precious are your thoughts about me? Too many, too beautiful. They outnumber the grains of sand. In light of who I am, I'm surprised to be loved. How deep?
Crazy. Crazy. And then one of the great things about these singers, especially Amanda, who's, she's young. She doesn't know there's so many singers that she doesn't even know about. She hasn't learned about. She's never really heard them. And yet when she's singing, she could sound like such a throwback to these people that she doesn't even know. So it's like, man, how do you even get that? How do you even get the phrasing for this next and last section if you never heard her? But I always tell her this is, on this last chorus, this is Amanda's tribute to Stephanie Mills. If you ask me, a young Stephanie Mills, some of you remember The Wiz, but these ad-libs that are about to come up, and as we are about to wind down, we are now in the key of D flat. This is the modulation. This is the last chorus. And this is just where everybody's going all out. And the soloist is as well. So enjoy.
How deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them, hey, how deep I
Yeah, we don't have time to get back into the chords of this, but this chord here in the second system, so it's right, and then this chord right here, which is the C, it's the sharp 9, which means that the 9 you always want it to stay at the top, so you know the sharp 9 is going to be this D sharp. So that's the lick that she sings there. She actually hear that chord?
How deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them. Hey, how deep.
She's singing that phrase over this chord. She's singing an A flat triad over this chord. Ask her if she knows what she's doing. Anyway, one last time and then we'll go home.
How deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them. Hey, how deep I find your thoughts, oh God. How great is the sum of them.
Yeah. Check out that chord. A flat 2 sus. Yo. I find your thoughts. Oh God. There's a song of them. Well, folks, I know this was crazy. It is what it is. But yeah, we'll figure it out because wanted to keep this down to an hour, but an hour and 17. If you were in applied music, it'd be an hour and a half class anyway. But anyway, yeah, I would love to hear from you folks. If this was helpful, if it was at all what we said that we wanted it to be at the top, which is somewhat redemptive of the times. Maybe it was healing to you, that you would be able to see the inner logic of this thing called music that God has been so incredibly generous to give us, and to be able to express ourselves through it. And I hope that the song and its structure, its lyric, its melody, its harmony, its rhythm, I hope that you found it to be as wonderful as I continue to find it to be. And if this is something that we can keep doing, we will. I already know the next song that I want to bring in here. And again, it's another very simple song, but it's got big teeth. And so, again, thank you for joining me on Anatomy of an Unpopular Song. Hopefully, what is the secret mission of this? Is there a shadow mission? Yeah, then maybe some of these songs, even though they're not being toured or played live or any of that stuff, maybe they will become popular. What popular meaning that as many people as possible will be able to hear how deep the love of God is. In this particular song, how deep the love of God is for them. Oh God. If I were to count them, how deep I find your thoughts, oh God, how great is the sum of them. About me, by the way, and about you. If I were to count them, they'd outnumber the grains of sand. And when I wake up, I love this line. I don't even know what it means. When I wake up, you're still with me. Wow. Wow. All right, everybody. Have a good night and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.